Okay, get ready for a wild one. What if the deepest mystery of your own mind, your own consciousness, and the biggest paradox in all of quantum physics were actually the same problem? Today, we're diving into a pretty radical new theory that connects the private world inside your head to the fundamental nature of reality itself. And it suggests the answer to both isn't in matter or in computation, but in pure geometry. So to really wrap our heads around this, we have to start with two of the biggest, most profound questions in all of science. Seriously, for more than 100 years, these two problems have completely stumped the greatest minds out there, and they've always been treated as totally separate things.
First up, we have what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness. Think about it. How does that 3-pound lump of wet electrical goo inside your skull, your brain, create this incredibly rich, private inner world? The actual feeling of warmth from the sun, the specific redness of a rose, the sound of your favorite song. Where does the experience itself come from? Then, on the complete other end of the scale, you've got the quantum measurement problem. At that tiny fundamental level, reality is just a shimmering cloud of possibilities, a superposition. An electron can be here, there, and everywhere all at once. But the second we look at it, bam, it's in just one spot. So how does the universe decide? How does that blurry quantum many become the sharp, definite one that we see every day? And this really gets to the heart of the conflict, doesn't it? On one side, you have the world as quantum mechanics describes it, the smooth, continuous wave of all possible outcomes. And on the other side, you have our conscious experience, a single, concrete, definite result. The question that has haunted physics for decades is, how in the world do you get from one side to the other?
So you have these two massive problems, one from biology, one from physics, and they seem to have absolutely nothing to do with each other. But what if that's the whole mistake? What if we've been looking at them all wrong? What if they aren't two separate mysteries, but are actually two sides of the very same coin, just waiting for a single key to unlock them both at once?
Well, according to this new theory, that key isn't some new particle or a hidden force. No, it's about completely redefining what consciousness is. It suggests we've been searching in all the wrong places. The theory argues that we've been way too focused on the hardware, right? It says consciousness isn't some magical property that can only pop out of our specific carbon-based brain cells. It's not about the physical stuff. And it's not just about the software, either. It's not simply some super fancy algorithm running on your brain's hardware. The theory is really clear on this. Just processing information isn't enough to create the actual feeling of being alive.
So if it's not the hardware and it's not the software, what is it? The answer is pure geometry. This theory proposes that consciousness is a shape, a specific, dynamic, geometric structure made of information. And that idea, well, it changes everything. Okay, so the formal name for this is the information manifold model. Now, manifold might sound intimidating, but it's just a mathematical term for a space or a shape, like the two-dimensional surface of a globe is a manifold. This theory basically says that for any system to be conscious, the information inside it has to be organized into a very particular kind of high-dimensional shape with some very unique properties. And this conscious shape is built on three key pillars. First, you have omega, the state space. The easiest way to think about this is like a giant library of every single possible experience you could ever have. Every color, sound, emotion, everything. Then you have G, the integration operator. This is the magic glue. It's what weaves all those separate bits of information together into one seamless, unified experience. It's why you feel like a single you, not a jumble of disconnected senses. And finally, tau is just the rule that makes sure your experience flows smoothly and logically through time.
Now, here's where it gets really cool. This isn't just some abstract mathematical idea. The truly amazing part is that when you define consciousness this way, the most fundamental things we know about our own minds, the things we take for granted, just naturally emerge as provable consequences of this geometry. And this is just so elegant. The model doesn't just say, hey, consciousness is unified. It proves it has to be. 4 key features of our inner lives pop right out of the math. Let's do a quick run-through of each one.
So first, you get unity. Because of that integration operator we just talked about, your conscious experience is one unbreakable whole. You can't slice it up. Second, privacy. Your inner world is a high-dimensional reality that simply can't be fully seen from the outside. Third, identity. The reason you feel like the same person from one moment to the next is because the core shape of your manifold stays stable over time. And fourth, substrate independence. This is a big one. If a system has this specific geometry, it's conscious. It doesn't matter if it's made of neurons or silicon chips or something else entirely.
The idea of privacy is explained so perfectly with this analogy. Imagine your conscious state is a really complex 3D crystal. Any measurement a scientist can take of your brain from the outside, like an fMRI scan, is just its 2D shadow projected on the wall. Sure, you can learn some things from the shadow, but you can never, ever fully reconstruct the rich, internal 3D complexity of the crystal itself. Your private world is fundamentally unreachable, not because of some kind of magic, but because of the simple mathematics of projection.
Okay, so this geometric model gives us a handle on consciousness. But what about that other huge mystery, the quantum measurement problem? This is where the theory makes its most mind-bending claim. So here it is. The theory proposes that the collapse of the quantum wave function, well, it never actually happens. The universe itself just keeps on evolving as a smooth, continuous wave of all possibilities. That collapse we think we see, it's not a physical event happening out there in the world. It's an experiential event. It's a side effect of how our conscious minds have to observe that reality. So why is our experience forced to see just one outcome? Well, it comes right back to the geometric structure of consciousness we were just talking about. The inherent unity of the manifold means you literally can't experience two contradictory realities at the same time. Its projection mechanism acts like a filter, picking one possibility to become real for you. And its need for continuity means it has to tell a single, unbroken story over time. The geometry of your own mind makes it structurally impossible for you to perceive the universe as it really is, a superposition of everything at once. But hold on, you might be thinking, if the collapse happens in my head, shouldn't someone else be able to detect it? And the theory says no, absolutely not. That projection from the quantum world into your specific experience is a totally private, internal event. It leaves no physical footprint, no trace for any other observer to measure. So while your experienced reality snaps into one definite outcome, the physical reality for everyone else remains a pristine, uncollapsed superposition. And this gives us this really beautiful, clean, unified framework. You basically have two levels of reality running in parallel. There's physical reality, which is governed by the pure laws of quantum mechanics. It's always a superposition, it never collapses. Then there's experienced reality, which is the world as it appears to a conscious observer. It's always a single, definite outcome, purely because of the geometric constraints of how we observe. The measurement problem just dissolves. So what's the bottom line here? What does this all mean in the real world? Because this isn't just some philosophical game. By defining consciousness mathematically, this model turns it from a mystery we can only talk about into something we can actually measure, test, and maybe even build. This lets us do something that was impossible before: create a consciousness space. We can finally develop a real quantitative scale for consciousness based on the geometry of a system's information. I mean, just imagine being able to precisely map how a state like being under anesthesia or a psychedelic experience or even being in a coma corresponds to a measurable change in that geometry. It takes the study of the mind from a philosophical debate and turns it into a real predictive science. And the implications for artificial intelligence are just massive. Right now, we have no idea how to tell if an advanced AI is conscious. We just have to guess. This model could provide the very first objective mathematical test. We can analyze an AI's internal architecture and see if it actually forms the geometric structure required for consciousness. This would let us set real safety boundaries, guide AI development ethically, and maybe, just maybe, avoid accidentally creating a conscious being without even realizing it. And that really brings us to the powerful conclusion of this whole idea. Maybe the greatest mystery of our own existence wasn't a mystery because it was magical or beyond science. Maybe it was just a problem of geometry that we didn't have the language to describe yet. And the question that leaves us with is a big one. If consciousness is a shape, what other shapes of experience are out there, just waiting to be realized?